Hey everyone, I'm back, and today we're going to be talking about The Gray Man. And this movie came out on Netflix recently, kind of. And it stars Ryan Gosling and Chris Evans, Anna de Armas. And I thought this movie wasn't the greatest thing ever. It wasn't the worst movie I've seen in a while. It was just kind of bland and a worse version of a bunch of movies that I've seen before this. And it's kind of like an action movie where Ryan Gosling, he's just a man of few words, and sometimes that's supposed to be funny, and whenever they try to do comedy, intentional comedy, it's never funny, and the dialogue isn't very good. And the plot gets started pretty quickly, and the editing is kind of a mess, and it's all over the place, and it just doesn't benefit the movie at all, and I'll get into more detail as to why. And the villains in this movie are really cartoonish and unintentionally funny, especially Chris Evans. I found his character to be absolutely hilarious, and it's all in ways I don't think it was intentional, but maybe it was intentional. But he was really funny in the movie to me, mostly because the dialogue that was given to him was really cartoonish, and it was just really entertaining. And he just he will get a mission done, and he doesn't care about how many innocent people he has to kill to get it done. He's just gonna get it done. And the way he portrays his character is just really funny to me. And Ryan Gosling in the movie, he was fine. There was nothing that stood out to me as terrible, but he fit the role just fine, because he's just a man of few words and is just like action hero man, and kind of like his character in Drive. But in Drive, his character is much more interesting because they have a lot more going on in that movie that just builds into his character even more, and it's partially the world that is giving him a lot. And even though he is a man of few words and doesn't really talk, you get so much from just the actions from his character, and the way he interacts with other characters, and so much about Drive just adds to the experience of that movie. And Blade Runner 2049, I haven't seen that movie in a while, but from memory, it was the world that made his character interesting, and it just complements his performance so well. And in this movie, he's fine in it. He's serious, man of few words, but it's not really adding much to the film. And the point of the movie, I guess, is to have more action and just to have Ryan Gosling be really cool. And to some extent, it was kind of entertaining, and not all of the action is terrible. It's not really a boring movie to me. I was never bored, but there are so many things that I feel as though this movie could have done a lot better to make it a much better movie. And one thing that was really distracting to me, as I said earlier, was the editing, and it's just kind of all over the place. And we start off from like a specific time period, like Ryan Gosling, he's in jail, and he's taken out because he's assigned a job because he's being hired by a company, corporation thing. I don't even remember. But anyways, he gets out of there, and it just cuts to 18 years later, and he's on a mission about to assassinate some person, and we don't really know who. And then the plot kind of starts out from there, and he gets like a thing that has like a chip in it, and like the company that he's working for, they want the chip thing, but he doesn't give it to him because he's like, something's off here. And the plot is about the people who he was working for is now trying to kill him, and they're trying to get that chip. That's basically the plot of the movie. And the bad editing doesn't necessarily only come from the action scenes, even though that does happen sometimes. Most of the time it's just flashbacks and then flash forward, and when it flashes back like 2 years ago, or 2 years earlier, sorry, and then it goes back, it feels very out of place, and it just the movie decided to do that because that's what the movie decided to do. And it's like, why did we need to see that? And some of it's not even necessary. Like, you don't need that in the movie. And even though that is kind of a small complaint, like the times that it doesn't need to be in the movie, when it was like really brief, like 5 seconds, that's a small criticism, I understand. But at the same time, it didn't add anything to the film. And there are plenty of decisions like that throughout the film, and I'm just still left scratching my head as to why they were made that way. And I didn't really care for the music. At certain points it was like 80s synthwave, I think, and then it just goes to bland action music, and I'm like, what are we doing here? Like, just pick a tone and just go with it. And also another thing that I couldn't really stand was some of the cinematography and framing, and sometimes they use like sweeping wide shots, and normally when you would do that is to show like a character moving really fast, and it's like an overhead shot kind of, and it's like normally when you would do that you would be able to see the characters or be establishing the location, but we already know the location by the point that it does that, and it's like when the shot opens and it's like moving around, like you don't see any of the characters or any of the main characters in the shot until like the end of the shot, which is really weird. And I'm like, wait, where are the characters? Where are the characters? And the shot is like this close to ending. I was like, oh, there they are. And then it just goes back to shot, reverse shot of characters fighting. And I'm like, why did you do that? And that happens a few times in the movie, and I just thought it was a very bad decision to do that. And I'm guessing those specific shots that I was talking about were trying to be a bit experimental. While I'm not against a movie being experimental, what I will say is that it just didn't work, unfortunately. And this movie is directed by the Russo brothers, and they've done a lot of the Marvel movies before, like they did Avengers Infinity War and Avengers Endgame, Captain America 1 and 2, or sorry, 2 and 3, sorry. And I think they've done some other stuff, but they're better off with the Marvel stuff than some of their non-Marvel movies, because they just don't work for me, unfortunately. And that's about all I have to say about The Gray Man. It was kind of disappointing, even though I had no expectations for it. I was like, oh, this is something that's new on Netflix, so I'll just watch it. And I watched it, and it was not that great, unfortunately. So because of everything I've said, I cannot recommend that you check this movie out. And with all that being said, I'm going to give The Gray Man a 4 out of 10. Thank you for watching my videos as always. If you enjoyed this review, be sure to leave a like and comment down below what you thought of The Gray Man, and my social media links, they will all be in the description, so follow me there. And last but not least, subscribe to be a part of Foley Nation, and I'll see you when I get my next review up, and that is going to be for 16 Blocks. So look forward to that, but until I get that up, thank you for watching and have a great day.